Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 2025 CPO 1 meeting. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but I think we're on track now. Okay, we will begin the meeting with our land acknowledgement. If I can find it. There we go. We acknowledge the people on whose land we live, the Atfality Kalapuyans, also known as the Tualatin Band of Kalapuyans, the first inhabitants of Washington County. We are grateful for the land we are on, Kalapuyan land. Signers of the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855 were removed from their homelands to the Grand Ronde Indian Reservation. Today, their descendants are tribal members of Grand Ronde and Siletz tribes, carrying on the traditions and cultures of their ancestors. We acknowledge and express gratitude for the ancestors of this place and recognize that we are here because of the sacrifices forced upon them. In remembering these communities, we honor their legacy, their lives, and their continuation in our community. I'd like to invite all of us to reflect on the role government has played in the painful colonial history and reflect as well on the resilience and healing of the indigenous land and communities. We invite everyone to collaborate and work together with the tribes to take care of the land and water and the people who inhabit these spaces. And this is a good message for all of us to think about as we work through land use and community issues. Let me get to the agenda. There we go. I need to look and see who's here for our community service providers to give us an update. Lindsay, why don't you go ahead and go first? Do you have a Tualatin Valley Water District update for us?
Yes, it just took me a while to find the unmute button. We're good. Okay.
Right. It's an evening of technical glitches, so we're on track.
Hi, everybody. My name is Lindsay Wachnick. I am from Tualatin Valley Water District, who is the water provider for this area. With warmer weather, we're serving about 32 million gallons of water each day, which is pretty significant, I think, when you think about each household using about 200 to 400 gallons per day. So we have a lot of thirsty customers. A lot of that water is going to irrigation. So just think about that, be mindful. I have a couple updates about some projects that we have going on. The first is a water main replacement project on Northwest 191st and Northwest Arena. We just kicked that off last week. That project's going to wrap up in mid-July, but again, that's a water main replacement project, which we do tons of. We're going to be upgrading about 1,200 feet of the water main beneath those streets that have been pretty leaky. So we're getting that taken care of. We're also wrapping up another project on Northwest West Lawn Terrace. We installed about 800 feet of new water main and also installed a new pressure regulator valve and vault near West Lawn. And the customers there were lovely and very accommodating and patient. So we very much appreciate that. And then just one last thing to mention, one of our largest projects we've ever done. In 2026, we're going to bring on a new water source here in Washington County. So right now your water comes from the Bull Run watershed and the Upper Tualatin River. But in 2026, we're going to move away from the Bull Run watershed, stay with the Upper Tualatin River, but then begin serving water from the Mid-Willamette River. And this project has been underway for over 10 years. We've been doing construction for over 10 years. So that project is just around the corner, at least for us in 2026. but we're going to be doing more outreach and education about that source and answering questions and concerns about that. But if you'd like to learn more about that, in the meantime, you can go to our website and learn more. It's at tvwd.org/WWSS. And I think those are the biggest updates I have to share with the group right now.
Thank you.
Of course. Thanks, Virginia.
Okay. We have Megan Rasmussen with the Sheriff's Office. Welcome.
Hello. So Sergeant Cuthbertson here tonight, but I just have a quick safety message before I share the calls for service map, and then you can ask him questions if you have any.
Great.
Just a quick note, it is getting warmer, as I'm sure everyone has noticed. So please do not leave animals in your car, even for just a couple minutes. Don't leave them in your car with the windows cracked open. It's never a good scenario, and we have been getting calls about animals in distress. So please either leave them at home, bring them out of the car with you. Don't be leaving them in those vehicles when it's warm. Same goes with any pets, any children. Really, nobody should be hanging out in cars in the sun. Other than that, Sergeant Cuthbertson, if you are available, I will share the calls for service map, and then you can explain what you're seeing.
Oh, he
you
was
able
there
to
and now he's not.
Did he disappear?
Wait a minute.
No,
No,
he's there. Sergeant, are you there? I do see he's unmuted, but his camera's.
Can he hear us?
Well, let me stop sharing so that see if
That's
he's
okay.
setting.
Well,
it's the theme of the night. Oh, there he is.
Thank you. Welcome.
Well, it doesn't seem like we can hear you. No. If you want to check, if you click the little up arrow by your microphone, are you on the correct microphone? I have like 3 options, and I sometimes have to scroll through them because our computers will reset.
All right, let's try this
there
one.
He is.
There you are.
Technology is not my thing, but I figured it out.
We'll attribute it to the sunspots.
Good. I'm Sergeant Cuthbertson. I haven't attended this CPO meeting and spoke. You guys have seen this map over and over and over again. It's just the numbers change. The hot spots are obviously around Target, off of Cornell. My opinion why the hot spots around Target is because this target is a very active target and reaching out and trying to send calls for service to us and prosecute. Our heat map isn't probably the same calls for service as a target off of DHH because I don't think they call in quite as much. But this target's very active at trying to stop the thefts in their facility. I know on occasion our detectives do a concentrated mission on retail theft, and so that's probably, that's the main reason why you see that heat map so high in that target area. And then I think the other one, which is hard to tell because it doesn't really give me street names, is St. Vincent's Hospital. It is in the county, so any assaults or sex assault rape kits or anything like that, or people who refuse to leave the hospital, you'll see a little more heat map at St. V's. It doesn't mean it's an unsafe place to go. It just means that that's a place where we generate a few more calls for service because of the people that come in that could be assaulted or things of that nature. If you notice on the when public initiated calls are down, which they are from last year, hopefully you see self-initiated calls go up, and that's what you're seeing on the bottom left of the map, that our deputies, when the public isn't calling in and asking for reports, then their self-initiated will start slowly going up. And as you see, 31% of our self-initiated activities are traffic stops. And then you can kind of see how it fades off, extra patrols, follow-up cases. So when we don't have the calls for service coming in for the public, our deputies have a little more time to catch up on their cases or do self-initiated activity. I don't see any huge jumps in the map. I know we're getting ready to hit summer, and summer is when we get very, very busy. I will piggyback on Megan that cracking your window an inch so your dog doesn't climb out and then leaving them in the car, that's still way too hot when you get into these higher temperature days. So keep that in mind. Imagine sitting in your car with the window cracked an inch at 90-degree weather. That's, an animal's going to feel the same heat, or young child. Any questions, or did I miss something, or do you want me to speak of something?
We asked about this big, huge RV that keeps moving around the community, and it sure looks like somebody's living in it. Although Megan said that she didn't think that was the case. Did they knock on the door?
Yeah, so we're familiar with the RV. Sergeant, do you know the RV they're referring to? It moves off of Cornell.
I do know that some of these RVs, they know to park a certain area for a few days and then move it, and they're kind of going around the system on the, parking and they kind of know the game to play, but there's not much we can do if they keep moving. Now, some of them their waste coming out, their gray water, their waste coming out of the RV will leak on the road, and we can fine them for that. But that happens on occasion where the RV just keeps moving place to place.
In this scenario, our Hope deputy has a relationship with this individual, knows this individual. This individual actually lives in an apartment in the nearby buildings. And so they are moving there. So they are not living in their RV. They do have a place of residence. They just move it around. So that, eliminates.
Because they don't have a good place to park?
Yeah. And so what we need everyone to do in this scenario is keep calling non-emergency, call it in, because the traffic team is aware of it. Our civil team is aware of it now. Will keep an eye on it because we let them know as well. So once our patrol deputies can tag it for certain things in certain areas, our civil team can then go out and deal with it as well. So please keep calling it in, call non-emergency, let us know, make those reports.
Great. I wonder if the CPO needs to get involved in this Target business, because it's very frustrating. I mean, Cedar Mill tends to be a pretty peaceful place, except for Target. And I've been told that they don't want to prosecute shoplifting and stuff. Is that still the case?
That has not been my experience, and that's why if they didn't want to prosecute, they wouldn't be calling us.
Oh,
that's why the heat signature is there, because they are calling us. They do.
Okay. They're just an easy target for people who don't want to pay for stuff.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
And it also includes, I think it's what's the pharmacy there? Walgreens? No. They have a pharmacy in the parking lot also that gets hit once in a while. But like I said, the reason why this target is glowing is because they are very active at calling us and prosecuting. And so that's a good sign. It's a deterrence the more they call us. Okay.
Because it seems like there was a while when they weren't being very cooperative. But
they are actually very cooperative. So
good.
What a business will do is the old security or loss prevention there was actually an employee of the sheriff's office, and then they went and got hired on with Target. And so we knew her very, very well, and she was very active at calling, and she was very good at what she did. And so she's since left, and they have a new person in, and they're doing just as good a job. So if
maybe the message will get will get through to the people.
Yeah, if it wasn't going, that means they wouldn't be calling in the thefts.
Right. Maybe the word will get around and people will stop that behavior.
Well, the other thing that helped is our jail opened up. you know,
Ah,
a couple months back that we can start lodging more people, but for a while it was just the jail didn't have room, so we write a ticket. They go sit
right.
again, we write a ticket. Well, now those warrants are catching up, those tickets are catching up, and we can lodge more people now.
Oh, that's great. Is that because you guys were able to staff up at the jail?
Staffing, but staffing has helped open the doors. Our jail staffing is doing really, really well right now, and
Great.
that helps them in the booking area, and so that we can lodge more people.
Yeah, it's discouraging for us community members to see people just rotate through and back out on the streets and up to their tricks again.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll keep an eye out for that hit and run guy
Thank you.
that pushed the motorcyclist off the freeway. That was really hair raising. All
Yes,
right,
it was.
are there any questions for our sheriff team? Don't see any. Let's go to Nicole Paulson with Tualatin Hills Park and Rec. Hi.
Hi, Virginia. Hi, everybody. It's great to see everyone. I am Nicole Paulson. I am the planning supervisor at Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District. And thank you for having me. I will throw my email in the chat just in case
We
you have
don't
any.
have a chat.
Beautiful. I won't do
We got
that,
it.
but
We got it cut.
you've got Virginia's contact information if you do need to get a hold of me. I just have a few short updates tonight. I wanted to let you know with summer coming, we've got our outdoor pools opening June 16th. And we've also got our summer kickoff for our concert season. And that is on June 26th, Thursday, June 26th at 6:30 p.m. at Mountain View Champions Park. And then also we are looking for folks who might be interested in joining an advisor. Well, this is a bond task force. And so we're accepting applications for folks that would be interested on helping us look at a potential bond for this next upcoming year in 2026, potentially, and to help shape what the future of that might look like. So you can, we're accepting applications now through July 13th, and you can learn more on our webpage. And I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
We've just seen another application related to the, what is it, Cedar, Beaverton Creek Trail.
Say that one more time, Virginia. The Beaverton Creek Trail?
Yeah, yeah.
And what was the flyer? I don't think I'm familiar with it right off the top of my head.
Oh, there's a current development application for a development review and floodplain alteration for a regional trail, Beaverton Creek Trail.
Oh, yes. The Beaverton Creek Trail is segment 3 and segment 4 is going through application periods right now for permitting. And that
Right.
is going from West Side Trail at the nature park all the way over to the east Hawken.
Right.
Yeah.
Good addition to the trail system.
It will be. It'll be a really nice east-west connection.
Okay.
Bruce?
Yeah, I'm curious if you could share some of the volunteer opportunities that the Park District offers over the summer.
Oh, that is a wonderful question. I will be honest, I don't know all of the different events that we have for volunteer opportunities. However, we do have our web page that lists all of our volunteer opportunities. And there is a way to contact our volunteer specialists, Melissa Markham, Joy Trimble, David Hull. We have quite a few folks and different ongoing opportunities, depending on what you might be interested in. I would
have their latest email, which I can share my screen.
You have the latest email. That's a way. And unfortunately, if we don't have a chat, I can't put that in for you. But Bruce, I do have your CPO email, I'm happy to email you the webpage.
Well, I actually received the Tualatin Hills advertisements for volunteering, but I wanted to make sure that the viewers of the meeting were aware that you can engage in a lot of really helpful, useful, fun volunteer activities helping the programs of the park district out.
That is
Right.
absolutely correct. We have a lot of community garden cleanups. We have ivy pulls. We have a whole host of friends of Tualatin Nature Park that you see that go out in the nature park and identify areas that need some love or some TLC.
Yeah.
There's a whole host of ways people can volunteer at local events. They can volunteer at the concerts in the parks or other community engagement or community outreach events that we hold. So if you want to engage with people or if you want to be more behind the scenes, there's lots of different opportunities. Or if you want to be out in nature, yes.
And that you're beginning to consider a bond measure, I believe in the fall. And this is information about the bond task force. And I'm hoping somebody from our northeast quadrant of the district gets on that task force so we can get more parks up here.
Yeah, and Virginia, just to be really clear, the bond task force would serve through November of 2025. We wouldn't look for bond wouldn't happen later this fall.
Until 2026?
Yeah.
Okay. But in any case, CPO1 people, consider joining this task force. And I'm sure you can get information just on the thprd.org website.
That's correct. That's all I have. I hope everybody, unless anyone has any more questions.
Okay. Thank you. Let me get back to my agenda. I didn't see any other service providers. If there's somebody we've missed, raise your hand. But if not, I think we're ready to go and hear from ODOT about the 217 Auxiliary Lanes project and Lily Boycourt. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm Lily Boycourt with ODOT, and I am here to talk. I have a little presentation. It's mostly just a picture show, just some cool photos we have from construction as this big project in 217 is in its final year of construction. We started about 3.5 years ago and always planned for the project to be finished by the end of 2025, and we are on track for that. So for those of you who travel on 217 or avoid 217, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're getting really close to wrapping it up and getting out of your hair for a little while. So, but I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I'll just remind you a little bit about what the project is, and then just kind of, as I said, take you through some cool construction photos and let you know where we're at and take some questions. So just 1 second. Okay, I think, hang on 1 second. Sorry, I'm used to I'm not used to Zoom as much as I am some of the other programs.
You hit the share button and then look on your desktop and double click.
That's what I'm doing. I'm there. I'm almost there.
Oh, good. There we go.
Okay, so let me just get this going. Now that I'm sharing this, I'm actually not able to see any of you. So let me know if somebody has a question, Virginia, and I can stop. So anyway, 217 Auxiliary Lanes project. This is the project that's been underway for the past 3.5 years, and kudos to you if if the word auxiliary rolls right off your tongue, which you would think it would by now for me, but it still doesn't. And
Lily, I'm sorry. Can you click slideshow so that we just see the bigger image of each slide?
oh, I thought I did. Let me try it again. Does that make a difference?
Nope. All right. Good enough.
Are you seeing like the whole window?
Yeah, we're seeing your desktop.
You are. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm doing the slideshow because all I'm seeing is a slideshow at this point.
And we get to see the whole thing. Okay.
Are you seeing all the slides coming up? So as I'm moving forward, is it changing, the screen changing for you at all right now?
Nope. Actually, what we can see is questions, which may be your last slide.
Oh, but that's not even the slide I'm on. Hang on one second. Just a second. I'm sorry. Let me.
That's okay. It's the theme of the evening is technical difficulties. I'm blaming it on the sunspots.
Oh, I see what's going on. Just one second. I see.
There we go.
Is that better?
Fabulous.
Okay. You're on the first slide, the title slide.
Looks like it.
Okay. So this is the project that's been going on for 3.5 years. And I'm sure many of you know that 217 is, is what we call an unpredictable highway. You never know what you're going to get. Lots of congestion at unexpected times and expected times. And a lot of that has to do with all the close interchanges. So that used to be a local road that basically all the intersections got converted into interchanges, and they're very close together. And that means there's a lot of merging on and off. And all that merging is what's causing all that unpredictability and the congestion and the inefficiency and the crashes. So this project set out to smooth traffic out, reduce some of the merging, and increase safety on the highway and save some travel time hours as well. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because this project's been going on for so long. This might be old news to many of you, but the basic idea of this project is we're adding auxiliary lanes, which are ramp-to-ramp connections that allow kind of a lane, the right lane. It's basically a new lane, but it's for merging. And so for people moving on and off the highway, they have their own lane, and that way the other people that are going all the way through can just keep going and not have to continue to sort of slow down and let people in, or work their figure out how to get off. So this project is building a new auxiliary lane on southbound 217 from Beaverton Hills Highway down to 99W, and on northbound from 99W to Shoals Ferry Road. What you can see now when you're out there is the lanes are actually already built, and some of them are open, some of them aren't. We're doing the final paving on them. So this work is already complete. It's just not, everything isn't fully open yet. We also built a new frontage road, if you have noticed that, in the Allen and Denny interchange on southbound 217. And that was another way of reducing some of the merging on the highway, because we actually were able to eliminate 2 ramps and combine the Denny and Allen interchanges with a frontage road. And that's helped smooth out that area on southbound, which was one of the worst bottlenecks on the highway. We've made a number of bicycle and pedestrian improvements, which is pretty exciting. On the Hall overpass in Beaverton by Washington Square, we widened that by 19 feet to add bicycle lanes and sidewalks in both directions. We added I don't know if you've seen the Denny overpass, but we have a new wide, like 14-foot sidewalk / bike path on the north side of the overpass. We've widened some ramps. We've added some sound walls, and we're also in the middle of replacing the overpass where Hall Boulevard travels over 217 in Tigard. Again, this is the goal and the purpose of this project is to decrease conflicts and crashes and improve the flow of traffic. And that's what we're doing through the addition of the auxiliary lanes. The bike and ped improvements, which I already mentioned, are already built, and it helped. We connected a couple of pieces of the puzzle, so now there's a north-south parallel bike and ped network alongside 217. A lot of it is a Fano Creek trail, and we added some to the east-west bike routes as well. So here are some pictures. The sound walls are one of the first things that we built in this project. We wanted to get those up so the neighbors that would be benefiting from them could actually have it also help them through the construction noise. So these have been up for years already, and there's just some photos of getting them in there. We built 5 sound walls in total. A lot of stormwater on this project. It's not as, we don't talk about it quite as much because it's like underground and it's utilities. It maybe doesn't resonate with people as much, but it's pretty extensive stormwater system that we're almost finished putting in to make sure that the runoff from the highway is being filtered properly. Here are some cool photos along the way. Some of these are from a couple years ago already of building the new auxiliary lanes. And some of you may have seen this as you go along. But there's been a lot of construction on 217. It's been sort of this unfolding story for quite a while. This is down on the right side there. It's down on the south end by 99W. And we've done a lot of interim paving stages. And you can see that there. That photo there on the left is one of my favorites. Just 5 dump trucks just lined up and ready to go to move materials out of the construction area. We had to do we had to work on a few different ramps to make sure that they're going to connect properly to the new auxiliary lanes. And this is an example of one of those down in Tigard. And here's some of the work that we did that I mentioned with the new frontage road in the Allen Denny area. We had to widen bridges because some of the ramps are on bridges. We had to build a new bridge over Fano Creek. There was a lot. That was a lot that was happening there. That finished up about 1.5 years ago. And you can see on the right is the new frontage road. If you haven't been on it, it's a cool way of bypassing 217 and getting between those 2 interchanges. And this is the new bike ped sidewalk that I mentioned on the Denny overpass there on the north side. And that is part of the connection to the Fano Creek Trail. So as that was one piece that was one of the pieces that was missing, and now you can get through on that trail in a much safer way. And here is the Hall Overpass in Beaverton, where there's a Hall Overpass crosses 217 in 2 different spots. This is the one on the north side by Washington Square. And this is, you can see on the right, we widened it. There was now sidewalks and bicycle lanes on both sides. That was a pinch point. Before we only had sidewalks on one side and there were no bicycle lanes. So now this is a really important link for heading east-west. I don't know how many of you get all the way down to 99, down to the Tigard area, but I'm sure some of you are aware that we're replacing the Hall Boulevard overpass there in Tigard. It's been closed for over 1 year, and we had to demolish the existing overpass and build a new one because the existing one wasn't wide enough to accommodate the widening we were doing underneath. So the first step was demolishing the overpass, which was super cool. Really good photos you can see there on the left. And then we've been rebuilding the overpass ever since. On the right, you can see we installed a temporary pedestrian bridge over the highway. The detour route for cars is not arduous, but it's pretty long if you're walking, and there's a lot of people that are getting to and from 99W from the neighborhoods to the north. And so we wanted to make sure that they could still do that. in a way that didn't cause a lot of undue hardship. So there is a temporary pedestrian bridge across the highway there, which has also been a really good vantage point for people to watch the construction. And here's some more progress on the overpass. On the picture on the right, they're poured concrete. This was just about 2 weeks ago. This overpass is expected to open in August, and that will be pretty much the last major piece that needs to finish on this project. What we're working on now is we're completing the, as I mentioned, the Hall Overpass opening in August. But right now we're doing the final paving on the highway, which is we're paving the entire project area, which on southbound goes from Beaverton Hillsdale Highway down to 99W and northbound 99W up to Shoals. So we're doing a lot of nighttime paving and some weekend paving. That's already started. So what you can see here is what to expect over the next few months. We've been having these weekend directional closures. I don't know if any of you have gotten caught up in those the past couple weekends. We can have up to 5, and we are closing one direction of 217 for a whole weekend as the contractor is doing the final paving. We've had 2 of those so far. The last one was just this past weekend. And then there's 2 coming up. We have one coming up the weekend of June 23rd. And that's southbound, and June 30th, which is northbound. Those are pretty disruptive. So we recommend, if you can, just staying out of the area. We have a signed detour in place to take people around 217, basically to avoid the highway. And for the Hall Overpass in Tigard, once the overpass is finished, we do have to have a nighttime full closure of 217 to remove that temporary pedestrian bridge, and that should be happening in August around the time that the overpass is finished. And the good news is we are on track to be finished by the end of 2025. It feels like a really long time, and it's also we're excited that we're finishing at the time we have been telling people we're going to finish back in 2021. So it feels good. We're on schedule, we're on budget, and it's really coming together. It looks really good, and can't wait for it to all finish and help everyone get to where they need to go a little more safely and a little more efficiently. So that's my presentation, and I know I went through that pretty quickly, but I also know that often people have a lot of questions, and I just wanted to make sure we had time for that.
Yeah, but my daughter-in-law said that they built a highway around Washington, D.C. in 2 years, and she's wondering why it's taking so long for us to rebuild 217.
I mean, I guess I can't fully answer that question, except it's taking as long as we thought it was going to, and the contractor's been quite busy over the past 4 years. There's some, I guess Washington would have the same thing, but there's some weather dependent work that there was a lot of not as much happening over the past 6 months on the project because a lot of this remaining work was paving. And so it's been a little more idle as I waited for the weather to warm up because it has to have a certain temperature, it has to be dry for the contractor to pave. And so if the contractor had been able to pave over the winter, for instance, then the project would probably be done for the most part by now. But there were some, there was some construction delays because of just the timing in the year. But it's been,
well, I didn't expect a real answer, but I just wanted to express my daughter-in-law's frustration.
Yeah, it's been a long project. 4 years is a long time for road construction.
It is.
Yeah. Bruce?
Yeah, hi. I remember driving on 217 when there were stoplights at Murray and Denny. So this has been for me a multi-decade observation. And I think one of the reasons that the cost went up, besides inflation, which is pervasive, is that rather than designing the full right-of-way 30 or 40 years ago, we've been expanding out kind of painfully as we take apart and rebuild. I had a conversation when the stoplights were going to be removed and the overpasses put in, and the ODOT engineer said that the road's going to fail. I said, well, why don't we design it big enough so it doesn't? He said, well, because people would have to pay for it, and they won't pay for it until it's painful for them. And once it becomes painful, then it becomes more expensive to fix the thing. And so I am in awe of the construction that has gone on 217. It is phenomenal. The quality workmanship, the entire thing has been really encouraging to watch as somebody who's so. What were the primary? Oh, and Tualatin Valley Water District got their big pipe put in along the road. Did you have to spend much time accommodating them?
We coordinated a lot with each other. Yeah. We were always very aware of each other's construction schedules and working so we wouldn't conflict.
That cooperation is really exemplary. I think it's wonderful. And so, what were the primary funding sources for this?
The primary funding was House Bill 2017. So it's primarily state money. A lot of our projects are primarily federal money, but this was money that was set aside by the legislature back in 2017. And so it's a $174 million project, and we got about $100 million as part of that House bill. And then the remaining amount came from various sources. We've got some money from the bridge program, some money, that was all kind of, we also have some money in there from City of Beaverton, and Washington County also contributed some money.
Well, I really appreciate the investment that this has made, and it will probably make the burgeoning population in South Washington County a little more, give them a little more traffic flow, just kind of move the car. Just a wonderful project. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Any other questions?
I think that's it. I was invited to dinner at my son's house down in Lake Oswego this weekend, and so we had to take I-5 to get there, but we were able to drive northbound. Okay.
Yes. Yep. It was just south closed this past weekend. Yeah. Yeah, people got caught in that for sure.
Right, and we've been covering and sharing it on Cedar Mill News Facebook group and paper and stuff. So hopefully everybody knew it was happening.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Virginia. That it's been so helpful to have others share our information and try to make sure people are seeing what's to come.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And as I said, we're going to be done by the end of the year. But if you have any questions, we have contact information. I can make sure that you have that, Virginia, if you want to share it out. I'm the person who's leading the communications team for this project. So if you contact us about 217, you'll probably hear back from me. So I'm here as a resource. So feel free. HWY217.org will also give you good information about the project.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Ika, can you please promote Kadarius Colbert so that he can give our next presentation? Ika, are you there?
Yep, I just got promoted.
Okay, good. Not yet. There we go. Okay. Kadarius, are you able to join us?
Yes. Hi, Virginia. Yes, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great.
Did you have a presentation? I've got an image of the lot, if that's helpful.
Yeah, if you could populate that, that would be great. I do have an image, but it's the same partition image that you're going to show. So if it's easier for
Okay.
you, that'll be great.
Let me find that. Oh boy, I've got so many windows open. Let me see if I can find it.
I, I have it here. I could share
There
it
we
really
go.
quick. Okay.
Wait a
Are you
minute.
able to, are you
Hold
able to
on.
see my?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
it looks like you've got it.
Yeah. Are you able to see my
Okay,
screen here?
perfect.
Yeah. It's really quick. So good evening, everyone. My name is Kadarius Colbert. I am the Director of Land Use and Planning for Providence Health. This evening, we are just discussing a minor partition plat at 9340 Southwest Barnes, which is a parcel of land that we currently own. We're applying for a minor partition to subdivide a existing parcel, 1.9 acres, into two lots that you see shown here on the screen on the right. These two lots will maintain as is. There will be no increased intensity on the lot. We plan to ensure that nothing changes. The only reason why we're proposing this lot change is because Providence is experiencing or going through asset disposition. And so one of the assets on the right side or the eastern boundary of the parcel next to the road here will potentially be disposed of. And so we're subdividing the lots and then maintaining what's on the west and potentially disposing of or selling what's on the east of the lot.
And that's an apartment building, right?
Correct.
Was it part of the
That's
system?
correct.
Was it an apartment building for employees or something, or it just happened to be there?
There have been multiple uses, but mainly it's a medical support use right now.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, this is a part of our medical office building, so non-acute space. I see a hand. I think it's from Bruce Bartlett.
I think he forgot to lower his hand, but he may
Oh,
have a
okay.
question. Bruce,
Okay.
did you have a question? I don't think he's even there. Okay. I think that's fine. It doesn't seem very
Oh,
controversial.
awesome. It- yeah, no, this is a minor
It won't particularly
action.
affect people in the
And
area.
as stated, if there are any questions, as we learn, I share.
Okay.
So if
Well,
there are any questions,
I
feel
can
free
put
to
people in
email me.
touch with
Thank you
you.
so
Oh,
much.
Bruce, do you have a question? No, I don't think, I think he's left the building. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. And Ika, we need to have you promote several. Oh, you got Joseph Schaefer. Who else do you need to have promoted, Joseph?
Hello, Virginia. I
Ah.
think Julian Stonebeck of SCA is here. And
Okay.
I can't see who all is here, but I'm expecting Sarah Jones from
We have
David
somebody
Evans.
named Peter Grimm. Is he part of your team?
Yes, Peter's part of our team.
Okay. And
Again, Sarah Jones and Josh Anderson.
we see Josh Anderson. I do not see Sarah Jones.
Okay.
We're a little bit early.
We also have Kyle on the line.
Kyle
Just part
Rodriguez.
of our team. Yeah.
Okay. And then you may have Scott Eaton.
I see Scott Ripple. I don't think that's Scott Eaton.
Okay.
He usually pops in right when it's the right time.
And then is Tom on the line as well?
That would be Tom Byrne.
I don't see that. We have Bob B., Chris Lindbergh, Jim Dugan, Roger, and Scott Ripple.
Well, okay, I guess we have the
Looks
people
like
that we
you've got
have
a pretty
today.
full team there.
Is there anyone
Yeah.
left? Who's not included?
Okay,
All
take
right,
it away.
I'm gonna hit share here and then move. Let's see that one. So you should see my screen now. Let me know if you see my screen. It's got a dark green background, says West Village.
We see it.
Okay,
We
I'll
see your whole desktop.
is that better?
It's PowerPoint versus just the slides.
Yeah. So now you should just see the slide. That's the only thing I can see.
Yeah,
No.
we got your desktop.
Can you see the slide? You saw the slide before, though.
We can see the slide, and it's pretty big. So if you
Joseph,
can't-
it's the application window that we're looking at.
right. I don't think it needs to stop us. It's big enough.
Okay.
No, and Ika, Sarah Jones just called in or got on the line. Could you promote her also, please?
Ah, there she is.
There we are.
Thanks.
Thank
Sean.
you.
All right, I'm just going to jump in here then. My name is Joseph Schaefer. I work as a land use paralegal at Jordan Ramus in Portland. I'm serving as the applicant representative for what we call West Village Phase 1,
Hey,
a 55-unit apartment building with a separate clubhouse located at the east corner of Southwest Barnes Road and Valeria View Drive. I'm going to introduce Jillian Stoneback, who you've seen there with the black blouse and the white room with lots of books.
Yep.
She's going to explain to you the architecture. I'm going to keep the slides moving along. I'll dial down here to our first perspective view from the intersection. We've got a few architectural slides, and then when Jillian is finished, Sarah will walk you through some of the civil sheets and civil engineering information. And of course, at any time, feel free to interrupt us with any questions.
Yeah.
okay.
And with that, Jillian, take it away.
Thank you, Joseph. Yeah, I can see you scroll down here. We're just rolling with it. So, hello, yeah, Jillian Stoneback. I work for Scott Edwards Architecture, and I'm a project architect on this. It's been a lot of fun, and it's a great building, and let me walk you through it. So we've got our building here. It's at the corner building of Southwest Barnes and Southwest Valeria View Drive. It's half a mile east of Lifetime Fitness, and directly across from the Barnes, directly across from Barnes, the Portland Rock Gym and other shops. And we are looking at a 5-story building. There's 4 stories of residential units over 1 story of parking with a lobby. We took inspiration on the site from the stretch of Barnes, which turns and undulates north of Highway 26. The shape of the building has a slight kink in it in the middle of its form, and this is following the bend of the road. It's also responding to the site, and the upper bays peel away at the top there, if you can see, which face back to the wooded area across the road. Just north of the intersection, we have a welcoming plaza and the main entry lobby to the building. This serves as an access point for residents walking to the shopping center, as I mentioned, across the street, or coming back from a bike ride. Opposite the plaza, the lobby, we have an amenity clubhouse. It's kind of down there towards the left of the image. So we're working to define a social and active presence along Valeria View. So Joseph, will you scroll down to the next slide?
I commented at the Beaverton meeting that Barnes is about a quarter of its true size, and it's kind of disorienting in that previous picture.
That's right, yes, and I immediately went to our graphics person. We have it updated, but we did not update this presentation, so Virginia, it's going to be a little redundant for you, but
that's okay. I just stared at it for a while and tried to figure it out.
Yeah, so
no worries,
but we got it here in the plan.
Great.
Okay. So we have a new access driveway along Valeria serving the property. You can see it north of the intersection on the plan. And then this connects to a service parking lot and continues to the interior parking within the building. With these lots, we're proposing 30 interior building parking spaces and roughly 40 to 45 surface lot spaces, which will host the residential building, but also the clubhouse.
So the parking, there's parking underneath the apartment building.
Correct. So on the ground floor where you see it yellow that says housing, that's it's a little subterranean, but mostly the whole ground floor is parking. And then at the northwest corner, we have our access lobby, which is off of the plaza.
Ah.
Yep. And then our elevators, and then you go up. So we don't have any ground floor units, which is actually really nice for the residents in there. So as we go across here, so above the level of parking and lobby, there are 55 residential units with amenity space on the second floor. We have a mix of 8 studios, 32 1-bedroom, and 15 corner 2-bedroom units. So all of our 2 bedrooms are corner, which is also really nice. Our site sits along 2 main pedestrian routes, and we want to encourage that level of activity by creating the multi-use path along Barnes Road. The pathway is separated from traffic on Barnes by a landscape buffer, and then another landscape buffer to the building. This creates the safer journey for joggers, walkers, cyclists, and pets, because I think we all know how busy Barnes can get, and we wanted to create that softness and kind of protected barrier there, setback. You can also see how the building here hugs Barnes, and the clubhouse, plaza, and amenity space are shifted up along Valeria. So we did create the buildings focused towards the corner because we wanted to maintain that active corner social connection to the shops around, but also make it kind of a buzz and people can see everything that's happening on our site. So Joso, you scroll down to the next one. Okay. So this is a render mostly of the on Valeria view of the clubhouse and the side. It's north of Valeria, and you're seeing the plaza and the clubhouse, as well as the main lobby to the right. The ground floor is slightly raised of Valeria as it ascends down the hill. We're actually showing stairs here, but we've worked with our landscape architect and civil that this is now just a direct accessible walkway into the plaza, which is a lot more accommodating for everyone, all pedestrians, cyclists of all abilities. You just flow right into the plaza. And then the residents will also spill in and out of the building and the clubhouse, so it's all connected at this central area. The building entrance is framed in glass. This houses the property management office, mail and package center, bike room, equipment, wash down area, and pet wash. Directly above the lobby is the building's amenity area. We have tall windows, a large terrace overlooking the plaza, which connects that social environment from our amenity space to the plaza and the clubhouse, as well as taking advantage of the excellent views to the north, but not forgetting we're going to get sunset views and wooded views here. So it's really a great site with a lot of potential. And then Joseph, if you scroll down to the elevations, please. Okay. So here we have our 4 elevations of the residential building and 2 of our clubhouse. We have a material palette that's modern and traditional, but timeless. So the main building has an angled fluted metal panels at each story, which echoes the building form along Barnes, how it flares out a little bit and will create some texture. The north facade is simplified with a ribbed metal. The varying white facade symbolizes the busyness of Barnes and our outer shell, while the streamlined dark facade speaks to the calmness in the creek and the views to the north. We took a lot of our inspiration from the site itself here for the design. So the brown accents are of engineered wood panel, giving warmth and dimension to the building. We also have large frameless glazing at the lobby and amenity space, which has that visual connection I spoke to the plaza. The parking garage is horizontal louvers along barns and architectural perforated panel along the sidewalk to the north. So we utilized the open facade and we're not having to mechanically ventilate. So we're using some natural components there just to help environmentally for our parking area. The clubhouse juxtaposes the contemporary materials with a little more timeless ones. The west facade is reminiscent of an old built factory or pump house. And then the opposite is a tongue and groove wood, also speaking to past use or a previous structure that was there. That intent is that we repurpose this structure into a social space. And we tie the clubhouse back to the main building with similar frameless glazing. And we have this beautiful streamlined CLT roof structure on the clubhouse, which is going to be amazing and lit up at night. So if you want to go to the next sheet, please. And so here we zoomed out a little bit. You can see Valeria View and Barnes. We can show the extent of the phasing, which consists of redistributing some soils from parcel 7 over there to parcel B. And we're kind of the naming convention, but bear with me here. It's labeled appropriate. So the building footprint of which we were speaking before is in the yellow, which is our first phase, and it's benefiting from the grading effort on parcel 7. And with this too, you can see we are holding some of the open space to the north for trails and kind of nature access as we develop future on other phases of the building. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to DEA to talk about more of the overall site.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah Jones. I'm the civil engineering lead on the project with David Evans and Associates. And Jillian gave a pretty good overview of the project. As far as the civil aspects are concerned, the things that the neighborhood is really going to care about are, you can see we're doing a lot of mass grading with this permit. So there's that, big pile of dirt currently across from the shopping center. Looking at taking that from that side, kind of smoothing out across parcel 7, and then across Valeria to where our first phase will be. And that will just set us up for the future phases that will come after, so that we can kind of minimize the earthwork as we move through the phases. So there'll be that mass grading. The north side of our phase 1 site is going to have a regional water quality facility. So that's how we are doing all of our water quality treatment. That is going to be an underground vault, so you won't really see it when you drive by. It'll be all underground, but that will treat everything basically east of Valeria View. And yeah, I think Jillian already went over the open space there. We've worked with THPRD on a master plan for all of the open space that will be coming. So yeah, any questions?
Yeah, I can envision quite a bit of heavy equipment crossing Valeria View. Will you be closing the road, or what is the timing on that?
Yeah, I mean, there will be some trucks probably towards the north end of the sites where the proposed driveways will be, is kind of the current plan, that there will be some dump trucks going across there, maybe occasionally some other heavy equipment, but they're not going to close the road down. Those will just be periodic as they're doing that earthwork.
Okay.
If there are no questions, should I go to the next slide? Okay, there you go, Sarah. I'll reduce this one, and this is our open space.
Yeah, so this is kind of a high level. So the dark green areas are what we currently plan to use as open space. As part of our original PUD approval, we're required to have at least 20% of the overall PUD dedicated to open space. So we worked with THPRD to put together a master plan for all of the undeveloped property on what that open space would look like and where we're going to donate it. So on this parcel, what we call parcel 1217, you can see that green strip along Barnes is going to be that multi-use path with the vegetated buffer. There will be a bit of a kind of linear park going down gradually down the hill is what you see kind of between parcel 12 and 17 diagonally there. Thank you, Josh. Along there will be some terraces with, we have to work out the details, but our initial vision showed maybe a play area, maybe an amphitheater kind of thing. But those details will be worked out through a separate public process once we get to that part of the development. Along the north side there, that line on the north side is the edge of the tract of natural area that will be left natural along Johnson Creek there. And then to the south of that natural area line, there will be a path that goes along there with a few different kind of waypoints along the way.
I understand you're working with Tualatin Hills Park and Rec.
Yes. So the plan is to not the area along Barnes, but the rest of it, we're working with them to hopefully make something that they will want to, that we can dedicate to them and they will own then in the end.
Okay.
All right, hearing no questions, I'll slide to the next slide where you can see the frontage improvements a little bit.
Good.
Yeah, so Valeria, really the only frontage improvement along Valeria is a new driveway. For the most part, the sidewalk will stay the same. We'll rebuild anything that gets beat up during construction, but no big changes along Valeria other than the driveway. The corner will be rebuilt to make it ADA compliant per current standards. And then you can see we transition into that multi-use path that will then run to the east along the north side of Barnes there. That kind of gravel pattern east of our site, that is a gravel fire emergency access road. So that's just there in case fire needs that secondary access. That won't be available to residents to use.
Any questions from the house?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, I'll take a moment and explain to you where we're at procedurally. We submitted our land use applications to the city of Beaverton a couple weeks ago and expect to get the completeness response either later this week or next week. And because of the new bill, Senate Bill 1537 from the 2024 legislature, the application will be decided by the staff. There will not be a public hearing. I'm sure anyone who wants to put in comments is able to do so. You're welcome to reach out to me, or I'm sure Virginia knows how to get that done. The city planner, if anyone would like to speak directly with the city, is Steve Regner at City of Beaverton. And that's all we have prepared. So welcome questions again, if there are any.
Well, we were hoping Scott would join us because people are always wondering about what's going on with the Peter Court Town Square. I don't know if any of you can speak to that.
I certainly cannot.
Well, people are always imagining what they want to see there, but I keep telling them that it's up to the development corporation.
Yeah, and for folks who aren't aware, Virginia kind of hinted at it, but Scott manages Peter Cortown Square. So if you have questions about that, or someone who's looking for space to rent in the area, he's your contact.
Right. I can put people in touch with him. But somebody posted a poll on our Facebook page. What do you want to see there? I say, it's not up to you guys.
I mean, that's a great idea. Yeah, what do you need? What do you want to walk to? And I think Scott is looking at it in tandem with the building of how are these two sites going to interact with each other? It's right across.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it. This building is going to provide customers for whatever you put across the street.
Exactly. And the understanding is even people further north on Valeria also walk through there. So
of course,
there's going to be great traffic and definitely benefit from us rebuilding the corner there and making it better for pedestrians, more accessible for everybody. But it's going to be that kind of like jump start again to the town square.
Right. And for anybody that's wondering, this was annexed into Beaverton years and years and years ago. It used to be Washington County, but it's now Beaverton. Well, I'm not seeing any questions or
we lost Bruce.
Okay, well, thank you for hosting us, Virginia. If there is any follow-up, you know how to reach me.
I do. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you again.
You will.
All right, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Do you want to stop that share? There we go. Okay. Well, we have a few development issues to share for our CPO people, if anybody's still here. Let's see. I'm going to share my screen. This is a very large middle housing development. It's actually in CPO 7, but it's close enough to CPO 1 that I wanted to share the information. Pioneer Road is north of Jenkins, and it's got a lot of small older homes on big lots. And now all of a sudden we've got middle housing proposing 77 dwelling units as pictured here. And I understand that it's already been clear cut in anticipation of the development. CPO 7, people from CPO 7 mentioned that they voted last night at their meeting to appeal the development. So if it's approved, CPO 7 will appeal. If it's denied, the developer will appeal. It seems like an awful lot of dwelling units for a small residential area, but that's what middle housing is all about. If anybody has any questions about middle housing, I know a little bit. I'll stop the share and see if anybody's got anything to say. I believe Bruce is left, so I can't do anything about it. If Ika wants to put his hand down, then we can dispense with that. Thank you. So that's one of the biggest things. We've had several other development applications that I wrote about in the June issue of the paper. If anybody has any questions, I might try to answer them. And if not, we could always quit early. Any objections? No? Okay, well, let's call it a wrap for the June 2025 edition of CPO1. We had an issue. We were meeting at the Opal, and the person that we've been interfacing with is no longer at that position, and we didn't find that out until yesterday. So we have been finally back in touch with people at the Opal, and we will hope to resume our hybrid meetings with the in-person segment being at the Opal, which is at the corner of Saltzman and Dogwood. I'll keep you guys. I'm looking at the captions, and it says Falsman and Dagwick. But anyway, you know, Saltzman and Dogwood. Oh, now it's got it right. I think with that, we'll call it a wrap. Thank you all for attending CPO1. See you next month. Oh, there's Bruce.
I've been painting. It's
Painting.
really nice painting. That ODOT presentation was really thorough and made me appreciate it, as you can tell from my comments.
Yep. And you missed the Valeria View Apartments. It's pretty interesting.
I heard.
Oh,